from the Schmoes Know Network studios in Los Angeles, California, it's time for Meet the Movie Press. And now, here's your host, editor-in-chief of schmoesknow.com, Mark Reilly, and from The Wrap, Jeff Sneider.
Hey, that's me.
That's our theme song.
That's our theme song.
Which means it's time to meet the movie press.
I love that theme song. It gets us going here when we're up so early to come to beautiful downtown Encino. Or is it Burbank? I don't know where we are, but
we are over a hill.
We are over a hill or something. But well, hello again, Schmoville. God, it's so wonderful to be here again. I'm very excited for this show.
Yes.
This is Meet the Movie Press. You guys, you keep rocking. Thank you so much for subscribing on iTunes and commenting and rating and subscribing to the Schmoes Know YouTube podcast channel and checking us out there. And of course, being on schmoesknow.com. I am Mark Reilly, editor-in-chief of schmoesknow.com.
And I'm Jeff Sneider, film reporter for TheWrap.com.
That's right. And how was your week, Jeff?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was pretty good for the most part, yeah. We had a wonderful event last night, actually. The Wrap hosts a shortlist film festival.
Oh, yeah. I was reading up on that a bit.
Yeah, so I watched one of the shorts called The Gunfighter.
Nice.
It's basically like set in a saloon, and there's, a gunfighter comes to town, and then there's a narrator, but everyone in the film can hear what the narrator's saying.
Okay.
And the narrator is Nick Offerman.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty funny. It was a finalist. It did not win last night. Instead, this short film Noah won, which is all set like entirely on a computer screen.
Oh, interesting.
Funny story about that, actually. It opens. So yeah, it's all set on like a teenager's computer screen. So we're seeing him manipulate Facebook and all these other things. But I didn't realize that that's how it started. So when it opens, it starts with like an internet browser, and YouPorn is open, and I thought it was like the person who was about to start the movie like on their computer. I thought we had totally just caught someone like looking at porn.
Was the audience just like,
I was
looking at the projection
exactly booth? It took me a second to realize this is part of the movie, but
that's cool.
Pretty funny.
Yeah,
it's happened to the best of us.
So and as we do on Meet the Movie Press, we talk about the week of news and scoops or exclusives of what's out there. It seemed a little slow this week. Seemed a little kind of, news is kind of, it's been that way a couple weeks because of the end of summer. Yeah,
it's the end of summer. It's the week before Labor Day, so Hollywood clears out, especially after the Emmys. The Emmys were Monday this year, so that was different. Yeah. So yeah, there was no real news. Film people didn't want their news out on Monday to distract from the TV people.
Exactly.
And then Tuesday is talking about what happened at the Emmys. And
Yeah. So there you go.
Whatever. Next, I guarantee Tuesday is when all the film reporters are just going to come out with their guns blazing, everything that they've been holding.
Yeah, and we'll be ready for that, I'm sure. And but it kind of is nice because it leads to one of my favorite sites ever. And this guy is so great, and I'm so excited to have him on. And I just want to get right to it. It's Jimmyo from JoBlo.com. He is the...
I feel like he has a last name.
I don't know what it is.
It's Oster.
It's O.
Right? Thank you.
It's Oster? Okay.
Thank you.
I like that. That's Jimmy Oster, but yeah, I just Jimmyo for
James Oster, a.k.a. Jimmy to the O from JoBlo.com.
Yeah, let's get him out here right now because JoBlo, we got to talk about this. So welcome to Meet the Movie Press, Jimmyo. No,
where's the applause?
No, thank you, JT.
Come on. Gotta be on top of that music cue, JT.
We were waiting for the audience was asleep. Sorry about that.
Hey guys.
Hey, oh, there you are, and there's your mic.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming, Jimmyo. I mean, as I said, JoBlo is a site I literally grew up on. I visit every day. I source all the time. You guys just have such a fantastic site. You have so much going on there that, I mean, you have beautiful women that you can click on, hotties, right? What is it?
Movie hotties. We have a few of those, yeah.
Yeah, I love an article you do every week. Every Saturday I go to is awesome art from around the web, which is so much fun to just kind of, check in.
How long have you been there now, Jimmy?
I think I started around 2006 or 2007.
Okay.
Yeah. I was actually trying to figure that out, but I know I started with... Arrow in the Head. I started reviewing DVDs.
Nice.
Really bad horror films.
Yeah. So you might have reviewed mine. Did you what is your actual title? We were actually talking on the phone, and I mean, I looked you up, and it says theatrical film critic and West Coast correspondent, which sounds fancy.
It sounds very fancy. That is my job. That I'm the West Coast correspondent. I'm also one of the theatrical film critics for the site.
That's awesome.
So that's not just L.A. That is the whole West Coast. That's
Oregon.
From
West Coast,
the top to the bottom.
Yeah. You cover it all.
Yeah, it's between me and Eric Wachowski. It's like an East Coast West Coast thing.
Gotcha.
I think we're gonna.
Someone's gonna get shot.
Do you flash signs?
Yeah, we gotta make new signs though. I think for JoBlo we have to have special signs.
That's cool.
I think it's gotta be cool.
Well, you were kind of getting into that, starting reviewing, bad horror movies on Arrow in the Head, which again, I love Arrow in the Head because
that's great.
I'm a horror junkie as well.
Yep.
I grew up watching horrors before I really started to enjoy film. So, how did you start with Arrow? Did you submit a writing sample,
or were you writing for somebody before?
No, ironically, I wasn't, but I was thinking about it. A friend of mine was starting a website, and I was like a huge fan of John Fallon. And I'm like, oh, he's the greatest because he actually speaks to horror fans, and he's cool. And so he always comes out to LA, so we actually ended up meeting as a fan. I met the guy, and we started talking. I was like, kind of getting advice for writing for a horror website.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, maybe you should apply here. So I did. And I think it was like 150 submitted, and they picked 3 of us. And
nice.
I'm still there, yeah.
And you're still there. So what was the first horror movie you reviewed for Arrow in the Head?
That's a good question. It's either Saw 2 or Venom.
Okay.
And I love Saw 2, man.
Saw 2 had some cool twists.
That was a cool flick. I like that movie.
I gave up after 1.
Oh, how dare you.
I know.
How dare you.
I wasn't a fan of the Saw franchise, but that's beside
Not
the
even
point.
the first one?
The first one's good. Come on, man.
It was good.
That was part of the news this week. Re-release.
Re-release 10 years, yeah.
What do you make of that news, Jimmy?
Wow, it's crazy.
Has it been 10 years?
It's been 10 years.
It made me feel old.
It makes me feel old too.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious I'd love to see it with an audience again. It's always fun to go see a horror film. Like I always take my son who's sitting there. I always take him to see Halloween every year. That's our thing.
That's my jam. That's my #1 horror movie all time.
You know what?
Yeah.
Why didn't my dad do that with me?
Yeah.
Dad's listening right now.
Yeah, my dad got me into
Dad.
horror, and he didn't even know it. It started with Alien and Aliens. He was like, "You got to watch this," and like my mom would come down and go, "What are you doing?" And,
I took him to see Alien this year, and on the Fox lot, and it was just perfect.
That's a cool dad.
Just perfect.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So Saw 2 or Venom.
Venom, yes.
I don't even know what Venom is.
That was a
I remember
Louisiana. Yeah, that was okay. I didn't. It was there was issues with it. I had issues with it, but I remember it. That's more than I can say for a lot of horror films.
Yeah, right.
Well, more a lot of films. Period.
Yeah. So how long were you doing the horror reviews for Arrow in the Head, and when did you move over to JoBlo?
My first junket, ironically, we were talking about You Mean Dupree. That was my first junket.
Nice.
And that was my first. I think that was the first thing I did for JoBlo. And I remember being very nervous and being around all these people who knew what they were doing, and I was scared. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing a press conference, and it was real. And I was like, Kate was all, I can't even. Kate was all pretty and cute, and I was just so nervous. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And then Owen Wilson was there, and I was just like, oh man. But it was after that I started kind of moving into doing junkets, and then I think my first TV junket was Transformers.
Oh, nice.
Which was really cool because I'm one of the weird guys. I love Megan Fox. Is that weird?
I don't think that's weird.
I don't think that would.
Well, she gets so much hate. I mean, everything she does, she gets so much hate, and I'm just like, she's cute.
I don't think she's beautiful. I think she can hold her own. I actually liked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I thought she was fine in it. I didn't think she did anything, that made me cringe.
No, absolutely not.
I had more cringeworthy moments in Transformers franchise and that was Bay. I think it was just the camera right up her butt, going, I'll take it, but let's show some story, please. So
story schmory.
Yeah, story schmory. So and that's what's interesting. What I love having Jimmyo from JoBlo on is that it's a different side of this geek blogosphere, this movie news that we do, which is the junket, which is the interviews, which is you get set visits as well.
I do a few set visits. Not a whole lot. I just did one I was really excited about. I did Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that.
And I never do TV, so that was a big. And I love that show.
Yeah.
So it was very. We didn't see much though.
Yeah, you were mentioning. So was it more because they don't want to kind of give away to, especially the blogs, any kind of details, because it's the last season coming up, right? So they want to just kind of give you a taste, and then they want you to go off and praise them, right?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the thing is, it was for the Blu-ray release, but it's all, there's a season premiere coming up. It's the last season. You can't go in there and not want to know about what's going on.
Right.
Ben, I mean, you don't want to... Yes, please give away the entire season. That's what we want to know. Right. But you do want to... You want a little... I think the biggest thing we got... They talked a little bit about Marilyn Manson and his character and what he's going to be... How he's going to be this awful neo-Nazi kind of... I'm excited, man. I love that show.
Sounds like a cool role for him.
That last season finale was just...
My parents love it. I don't watch the show.
How dare you? Oh, you guys both should.
I know. Sorry.
It's one of the shows that it instantly clicked with me because I've always been kind of fascinated with that lifestyle and that kind of, I don't know, that kind of badassness of being in a motorcycle gang.
I was gonna say, I don't need to watch it because I live it, Jimmyo.
Oh, I know you do.
I'm just
Can't you tell by that
biker. Shirt? Exactly.
Yeah, the shirt.
The Super Soaker shirt.
His scooter's parked out back. I mean, it's amazing.
That's his hog.
Yep.
It starts by just blowing into a thing, right?
Sure. So wait, let's go back to the junket.
Okay.
Now, to me, the best part of these junkets is the food.
I was gonna
paint a picture for Schmovel. I've never been on them yet. I know you've
never been to a junket?
No, I've never done one yet. No, I'm sitting behind my computer while everybody else has fun.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, see.
Yeah, so the food. Talk to us. Go.
The bacon at Four Seasons. You can't say enough about the bacon.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I need to do more junkets.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna head over there right now to see if there's a junket.
Let's all go. Let's just stop the show.
After the show. Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay, we can wait, I guess.
So you're basically invited to these junkets, right? And you first get the food, and then you
get the food.
Sit down, and are you basically told you sit here, and then there's a rotating bunch of.
Do you do round tables more, or
no?
Do you get one-on-ones?
We just do the TV. So that means we go and wait in the hospitality room, and then once they're ready, there's like they have like seats set up, so they have you on cue to step in the room because they have it all set up, and it's really nice. It's really easy.
And when you say TV, you're talking about those interviews you see that they're sitting there in front of their movie poster and they cut to you in the other chair.
That's the one.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Okay. And we get the tapes, and my editor, I've got to call out Rusty Eltringham, who was amazing. This guy is like one of my best friends, and he's actually an incredible editor. He's really talented, and
the rap's gonna poach him in the next hour.
Yeah, basically, he's incredible, and he does an incredible job with making me look like not a complete idiot, which is nice.
That's great.
How important is like a video component to JoBlo? I mean, I know video is
it's gotten huge. But our YouTube channel has blown up, and it's amazing to watch. I mean, I remember when we first started trying that, and now it's like it's so huge, and people love it. I love it. We've got all these original exclusive videos hopping up, and a lot of great stuff. I'm really excited to see where we're going with it.
Well, I've noticed that personally because again, I started not in the career, but just as a fan and visiting JoBlo for my movie news. In fact, I remember I was working in production and just a grunt job, just like 12-hour days, and I remember just every morning going on JoBlo first just to get a fix, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember one of my producers like looking over my shoulder, and I got caught, and he was like, JoBlo, huh? And then just moved on. I'm like, oh, I'm getting in trouble later. And it was because of JoBlo.
Well, it was worth it then.
Absolutely. But my point is that I watched this site start to grow and build, and then all of a sudden it kind of changed. And it became even more interactive. Like I said, I brought up I feel like you can go to JoBlo.com and stick around for like 5 hours. Yeah. And you can have like movie news, you could have videos, you could have awesome art from around the web, you can have the movie hotties, like all of that.
Trailers, it's awesome.
I was just searching the site because I could have sworn that I've written for JoBlo. I feel like I've done a couple of articles from back in the day.
Yeah?
but I can't find anything.
I don't think you have. I think
Really?
we've talked about that in the past.
I could have sworn
I've known this guy a
did.
long time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I could have sworn there was like 1 or 2 reviews, like maybe I sent him to Dark Horizons or something.
Okay, yeah,
it was something other than Ain't It Cool.
Right, because I was going to say you're at Ain't It
But
Cool.
I grew up reading JoBlo. That was one of the big sites, along with Ain't It Cool, Corona Coming Attractions, and Dark Horizons.
Yeah. And so when you joined with them in 2006, and obviously you've been with them for a major growth over the years. And
How's Burge doing, by the way?
He's doing great. I mean, he was up here at Comic-Con. It's always so good to see him because we get a crew there at Comic-Con, and it's like this kind of family reunion. I like the fact that all our writers kind of have a like-minded sensibility. I mean, we don't all like the same things. We are not all fans of the same movies, the same TV, but there's a real camaraderie there, which I think is a nice thing, especially considering we have so many people.
Does Jenny still write for the site?
No, I don't think so.
She was the person
She's
in New York
awesome.
who I
love her.
Yeah, she was.
Now we have
cool.
Eric over in New York, and he's amazing. I love that guy. He's really, really funny and really a clever writer, and really he's a lot when it comes to reviews, he's a lot more harsh than I can be, and I like that. I like the dynamic between us.
Yeah, well, you guys have a lot of people. That's kind of what Jeff, you had actually something, you have that glint in your eye. I like it. So
Oh no.
I'm watching for the glitch.
I don't even know what that is, but no, I was gonna ask, do you get dressed up at these junkets? Like sometimes at these junkets, I see that the interviewers are like more decked out than the stars themselves. I feel like you're a guy who just keeps it real.
I used to. Here's the deal. I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost like 150 pounds.
You have. You look good.
Jeez.
Thank you.
Congrats,
and
man.
I used to go, and I swear I would dress similar. Maybe I would wear like movie shirts or stuff. A little bit fanboy.
You have a cool T-shirt collection.
Yeah, which I did. I don't wear as much to junkets actually anymore.
Okay.
But I definitely got a lot of hate. And people would say I dress a common one, and I don't know why they use this word nowadays. They said I dress like a hobo, and I'm like, yeah, because people use that word all the time now. But you know, now I dress similar, but with the weight loss, I don't get those comments.
Okay.
You know, but I try
Isn't that interesting?
I don't have the long hair. I used to wear Leonard Skinner hat. I used to look a little white trash, which I was kind of proud of that.
That's
but,
okay.
You know,
You look sharp now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Stay away from my girlfriend if I had one.
I'm married, so it's all good. It's all
That's
good.
right. That's right.
So walk me through that process, because it's so interesting to me. So you get a junket. So is it like, do you have a boss or somebody that's going after these, or do you go after them yourself? Or are you invited?
We are invited. We have an editor-in-chief, Paul Shirey, who is amazing. I'm just totally kissing up to everyone on my site.
I would too. It's a good
I love
site.
the site. Yeah, I'm a fan of the site, and Paul has done an amazing job, and he's great to work with. And you know, he gets the invites, and he says, "Hey, can you do this?" And usually, I say yes.
Great.
You know, it's great because it's in LA. I can travel. I don't need to travel. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to get on a plane, which is a nice thing. I don't like to travel. I just don't like to.
But I mean, aren't there cool like junkets that these studios send you guys out on that are?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I'm also a full-time dad, so that's, you know, it's like when it's a traveling thing, we have other people that can do that.
I gotcha.
You know,
So what's like a typical, or actually, what's your favorite? That's hard to do too, right? Your favorite movie junket that you've been on.
Yeah, it's
because
difficult.
you get there like for me, it would be, if I was invited to the Star Wars Episode 7 junket, I don't think I could talk. I did work in Vegas for a CinemaCon, and I was almost going to get to interview Harrison Ford, and then he was kind of rushed by me, and I didn't get to do it. I don't think I could have completed the interview. I was just like, oh, you're gone. Okay, bye. So do you geek out at all? Do you have favorite movies that might have some directors or some writers or some actors that you are going to then interview? And have you had any experience with that where you're like, okay, now I got to pull it together?
I geeked out a little bit with Kate Beckinsale. Because she's hot. She's just way too beautiful to look at. Yeah, a little bit with her. Occasionally you meet somebody you've been a fan of all these years. I remember interviewing David Cronenberg on the phone at 4 in the morning because he was, I forgot where he was, But it was an interesting phone call because I felt like he was testing to see if you were a complete idiot. And after about, we were starting, because I wanted to talk about The Brood. I wanted to talk about all these Scanners, all these amazing movies. And so I think he appreciated that. So it was actually a really fantastic conversation.
Yeah.
But you have to keep it in check. You can't go in there. I mean, I kind of have this energy, I think, where... I genuinely like talking about acting. I like talking about movies because I love movies.
Yeah.
I always have. When I was a kid, I loved movies. So, and Harrison Ford, I'm looking at him right now.
I know. We're on your website right now.
Great website, by the way.
It's a good
JoBlo.com.
There it is.
I was really flattered because I interviewed him, and at the time I had a mohawk and I had a goatee, and I went in there, and for the next... junket, I couldn't go. I had surgery.
Okay.
And so the guy had mentioned, oh yeah, we talked to you last time, and Harrison was like, hey, the guy with the mohawk? And I was like, Harrison Ford remembered who I was.
Yeah, you stand out in the crowd, man.
I not so much now. I'm kind of boring now. I just kind of have this normal...
I don't think so, Jimmy.
No. Oh, thank you. Sweet.
That's a pretty amazing compliment.
It really was.
Harrison Ford's like, hey... Where's the guy with the mohawk?
And I made him smile. That was the one thing in the interview. I made him smile, and everyone's like, because he's known for not being really.
He's pretty dry.
He's dry, but honestly, the weird thing is you have to kind of judge it for what it is. There's a lot of actors I don't think that they don't really want to do it.
Yeah, you can kind of see in their demeanor sometimes that if it's a long day, like they've done a lot of junkets, and you're coming in there towards the end, maybe. So do you find that a lot? Have you ever done that where you walked in and you felt the vibe off of the actor or the director, and you're like, oh boy, this is not going to go well?
Yeah, I mean, I try to make the most of it.
Yeah.
You go in with that idea that they've talked to God knows how many journalists that
heard the
one
same
day.
variation of the same question.
Same variations, same questions. And you're asking about one movie, and they want you to keep it to that movie to a certain extent.
Right, stay on track.
But a lot of times, there's been a few times where you can tell they're probably nice. There's a couple that are difficult, which I won't really mention, but they're known for being a hating press. Now, one of them I've never interviewed, and I kind of
Julia Roberts, isn't it?
No,
she's a total bitch.
I know who it is.
You know who it is.
Yeah, it's Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. He will test press. You know what though? I kind of get it though. He doesn't have to do this.
No, of course not.
It's Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, it's like, and my thing is, if I ever interviewed him, I would have to bring up Executioner's Song.
Yeah,
the TV movie he did. Because that's the first time I saw him. I'm like, oh my god, he's scary.
I have never interviewed Tommy Lee Jones either. I don't think he's a Yale guy though.
You would remember that.
And I think Ed Norton is also a Yale guy, and he was another guy who, I mean, a brilliant guy. Like it was a fascinating interview, but like not the kind of guy who's going to suffer stupid questions.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I don't think Tommy suffers any questions. I think he literally will look at you and he'll be like, yeah. Do you walk in? Hi, it's Jimmyo from JoBlo.
Yeah. I don't care.
I don't care. I don't want to.
Oh, sorry, sir. Love your work.
But I mean, the thing is that's the thing. I mean, he's a phenomenal actor. You can't really, if he doesn't want to do it.
We like our celebrities, but we don't need every single person, every actor to be a celebrity. I think we all appreciate Tommy Lee Jones's gifts, and I don't need some incredible interview with him to love him.
Yeah, I agree. So that must be, and I keep thinking about, because this is the side that we haven't really touched on. Excuse me, on Meet the Movie Press, which is the junket and the interviewing the celebrities and what that could do. Like even Tommy Lee Jones, and you're like, you must walk into that room and just it's full of just energy because it's Tommy Lee. And like, are there other actors that you've had that kind of experience with? I know you mentioned Harrison Ford, but
I'll talk. I have so many favorites that it's hard to say, because I think, and I always have to point him out because he's amazing, as Colin Farrell is one of the most...
Very personable.
And he's, oh my God.
That's awesome to hear.
Amazing. And he loves my kid. I mean, he's great with my son. He's a very genuine guy.
Yeah.
And I've
interviewed him a couple times actually.
He remembers you, and the last time I saw him, we were in the lobby for Four Seasons, and I go, Colin, and he's like, oh my God, what happened? Because he noticed the weight, and I was like, he's a really amazing.
He's got that Irish accent, and you feel like you're just like on a cloud when you're talking to him.
Yeah, right.
On the other end of the rainbow, like, oh my God,
it's a very soft, gentle kind of voice when he's doing an interview.
Yeah, and it's legit. I mean, I love him. I love Amber Heard. I think she's freaking awesome, and she's kind of attractive a little bit,
on the attractive end of the spectrum.
She's not bad to look at.
No, she's not, and I think she's really talented too.
There you go.
Have you done Tarantino?
We did a round table with him, and he was very energetic, and
I mean,
he's Tarantino.
Yeah. He can work in the room.
He seems like the kind of the Robin Williams of the director side, where it's like he just can kind of start talking and he just goes.
Right.
Because I've seen him in interviews where he's just like, another thing, that
was good.
And he's just kind of going, and you're like, that's fun. Yeah, I don't have to do anything. Just hit record.
I love the fanboy mentality of a lot of filmmakers. I love, like, Edgar Wright or Tarantino. You know that they love film, and you know that you could go into a room and you could talk about, like, Hollywood chainsaw hookers or something like that, or like, they know these movies and they've seen them, but then you could also have the same conversation about The Godfather.
They're one of us, essentially.
Absolutely.
They grew up inside video stores the way I think most of us did.
Yeah, exactly. So do you find that's a good icebreaker, especially for some of these big personalities? It's like, you share a love of film, you share a love of movies, so you can go in there and be like, dude, I'm one of you, I'm just over here, how is it? Oh my God, you're awesome. Is it like that and it breaks the ice? Or
it can be. I remember talking to Stallone about, I think, The Wild Bunch. I'm like, I'm sitting, I was kind of pinching myself. I'm like, Stallone's kind of a legend. He's larger than life, and here I am talking about The Wild Bunch with him. Or one of the weirdest ones was talking to Cher about Marvel movies. That was and I gotta give her credit, because she was just a chick. She was just like, hey, what's up? It was me, her, and Stanley Tucci talking about Marvel.
I wonder what movie that was.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about
Well, if I could turn back time, Cher would be Wonder Woman.
There you go.
What do you think of that?
That's a good idea.
At the height of her popularity, like right after Mask.
Mid-80s, something like that.
She nails Mask, and then she gets cast as Wonder Woman.
She was kind of hot in Mask.
Why do you think I brought it up?
So was he. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, Rocky Dennis.
It's inappropriate.
Yeah, well, but that's what we do here. That's really fun. I mean, it's something that I really wish I could do, and because I know that I will sooner or later.
Yeah.
But just being able to talk to these celebrities or talk to these actors or filmmakers it must be so much fun. Now, do you also? I know you don't like to fly, so set visits, are those few and far between for you, or have you done a set visit?
Oh, I've done that. I've done quite a few. I like Sons of Anarchy was one. I remember one of the coolest ones was Iron Man 2.
Oh yeah,
which was incredible. And Jon Favreau.
You're talking about the bacon, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about the bacon. Clearly.
Okay, movie news aside, what's the food like on Iron Man 2?
Well, let's talk about food on sets. It's generally not nearly as good because it's not in a hotel. It's usually it's craft services, so it's okay. It's fine. Don't get me wrong. All the craft service people, you're awesome. I love you.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's not as cool.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks sometimes.
So for Iron Man 2, what was that like? So
it was just a trip. It was, and it was. We were I can say this now. Hey, spoiler alert from several years ago.
Yeah.
We were the first people outside of the filmmakers to see Scarlett Johansson as a Black Widow.
Oh, that's right.
And there's a GIF. Remember?
I do know. And
all of us.
It's you and Beeks and Devin, and it's just like a bunch of male bloggers ogling Scarlett Johansson.
Literally, everybody is looking at her ass. I remember that.
Well, come on, it's Scarlett Johansson.
I would be right there with
the sun.
That I geeked out on, because she comes out and I'm just like, hop, kind of like that Bugs Bunny kind of thing.
And it's the first incarnation of Black Widow.
Yeah.
And my God. I mean, come on. You're going on a set visit for Iron Man 2 after Iron Man blows everything out of the water. Right. We basically had Incredible Hulk after that, but it was the start of the Marvel Renaissance.
It really was.
Even though Iron Man 2 might not be viewed as a good movie.
I was going to say, so it's like when you're on the set visit, can you tell it's going to be a bad movie?
Yeah.
No, well, see, I was kind of in the rare. I actually enjoyed Iron Man 2.
Okay. I did too.
I did too. But I was maybe it was because I was on the set. Right. I just remember seeing her and just being like,
That's
wow.
awesome.
And I actually said to her, I was such an idiot. I said, wow, is that comfortable? And she's like, she looked at me really, well, yeah, for me. And I was huge at the time, so I'm like, oh man,
face palm.
We'll get you a leather suit now.
I think I should. I think you should
cosplay as Black Widow next Comic-Con.
Yeah, I told Channing Tatum when I interviewed him that I should be in Magic Mike. That's when I was huge again.
I think there's definitely an audience for that.
The spin-off.
Apparently
Magic
there
Jimmyo.
probably is. Somewhere if you look on porn or YouPorn or whatever you're mentioning that. Really,
I don't know the site you're talking about.
Really heavy guys or heavy girls and what are you into?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure conversation's gone off the rails.
on your computer right now, actually.
Okay, we'll bring it up. Should we talk about some of the week's movie news?
I would like to.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
all right,
because I want your take, Jimmy, and
Okay.
I want to start it first with. Look, we just touched on Marvel. Jeff rocked this awesome scoop back right before Comic-Con. Joaquin Phoenix is Doctor Strange. We are still talking about it to this day because it hasn't officially been announced. However, yesterday we get an exclusive from Collider that says he's in final negotiations. Now, I talked a little bit about it on Schmo's No Movie Show last night, and I'm a little... I don't like that word exclusive for this thing because I know Jeff, we talk about this. Jeff, how do you feel about that? I mean, we know that Joaquin Phoenix has been in negotiations for a while now.
Yeah, I mean, I think... Again, I love Collider, and I think that they did a good job on the story. And it was like no one had written about it in a while, and there was still some uncertainty. So I think it's cool that they clarified, where things currently stand. But yeah, to me, it was a bit self-evident. It just felt like, yeah, what do you think that Marvel and Joaquin Phoenix have been doing the last 3 or 4 weeks? They've been negotiating,
and that's what I said last night.
And it hasn't fallen apart. I know someone had thrown out Jack Houston. I didn't even bother to look into that.
I didn't either, and because we talk a lot about this on the show. It's negotiations can take a long time, and then they can fall apart at the last minute. It could even happen with Joaquin Phoenix, but for all intents and purposes, he's our guy for Doctor Strange.
Right.
What my take of it is that there was no mention of you in that story.
Oh, it's okay.
Which is okay. I know you don't care, but
do you not care? I mean, that would get annoying.
Oh no, I mean, believe me, if I cared, I probably would have said something yesterday. But no, again, if it's like within 24 or 48 hours and you're like using my news to then write your article, yeah, then there should be credit.
Right.
But a month later, no, what I wrote is now like part of the public record, and they don't need to.
Which they said, the trades reported. They basically said the trades reported back and blah blah blah, and then now it's
And my language was the softest. It was like he's the name being mentioned most often, but it was like. He was the only name in that story. It's not like I mentioned the names were being mentioned less often.
Right.
Yeah, he was the guy, and then the other trades came in and said he's in talks or negotiations. Their language was stronger, and then Collider basically just stuck the word final on there, meaning like this is going to happen. And that's what I've been telling some folks in private. What do you think of that, the escalation of things? I mean, it's happened with plenty of stories. And what do you think of the casting in general, Jimmy?
Oh, I think I am a huge Joaquin fan.
Yeah,
he's a little wacky, but I think
he is strange.
Yeah, again, perfect. I think it's kind of perfect casting.
Are you surprised that he would do something like this?
A little, yeah, because he does seem kind of into his own thing, and we hear voices.
There's voices.
Who's
out there talking during our show? Yeah,
but I do think that I think it is actually really interesting casting.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with this and where they're going to take it and how strange Derrickson is going to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I'm very, when Guardians was first announced, I was kind of like I was a little hesitant. I wasn't sure if James Gunn was the right fit, and after seeing it and after being blown away, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm kind of digging this.
He's totally,
I just bummed that Edgar Wright's not doing Ant-Man.
Yeah, I think we all are. I mean, I know he's a nice guy.
He's amazing. Yeah,
he's a movie lover, and I'm sure his take. We're always going to wonder now if Ant-Man bombs, it's going to be because of Edgar Wright left, and if it's wonderful, it's like, well, we should have seen Edgar Wright's version. I feel like that's
it's
inevitable.
In a tough spot, but I'm not worried about Ant-Man.
I don't think it's cool. I think it's going to be great.
I think I'm most excited for Doctor Strange though, because I think there's some serious. I like the idea of Marvel kind of going in a really dark place.
And, I was kind of looking at your profile on JoBlo, and we had a lot of movies in common. I've noticed a lot of horror kind of titles in there.
A little bit,
so
Derrickson, comes from the horror background.
Coming from the horror background, I thought it was a genius appointment for a director.
I agree.
For a Marvel movie, especially, and then even further, Jeff, with your scoop with Joaquin Phoenix, genius casting. I absolutely, 100% love
You
this.
look at Joaquin recently with her, and it's such a compelling and heartbreaking and very dark performance. You know, very, very sad. I just think he can pull off some really amazing stuff, and I credit Marvel for kind of going above and beyond with their casting choices.
He's one of the best actors, you know, working right now, and I know that there was people. They were skeptical of the scoop because he honestly is the last person in Hollywood who would take a job like that and commit to a long-term deal or multi-picture deal or whatever. It's just not what he is interested in. You know, we saw that he rebuffed the Lex Luthor stuff with Batman and Superman.
I was going to say.
So, but I really don't think that Marvel... I think that Marvel knows that they're going to be lucky to get him, and then they're not going to ask him to commit to a 6-picture deal or a 9-picture deal or whatever. I really do think it's going to be a much more modest commitment, like 3 or 4 movies, you know, maybe 2 Doctor Strange movies and then an appearance here and a cameo in this or whatever.
Right.
You know, I don't think it... I'll be curious to see if they actually milk this character the way that they are going, you know, have been with Thor or Captain America, whatever.
Right, right. I mean, you can assume I've heard certain things that, you know, it's that Strange is being made as a trilogy, and I've even heard that, you know, I have a kind of a source that I've been kind of picking around with that, you know, everything's kind of set up as a trilogy with what you said, Jeff, like certain cameos and appearances in, say, Avengers. And then after that, it's kind of a question mark. We don't know what we're going to get. But back to Strange, with Derrickson as the director, and I think with Joaquin Phoenix, how he didn't want to do Lex Luthor, which I thought he would have been brilliant as Lex Luthor as well. But this seems like something in his wheelhouse. He is kind of going after interesting roles. You can see that from his filmography. But with this, you're putting a great character in a Marvel brand. So, or it is the Marvel brand.
He's played a villain before, and very well.
Yep.
But I think that is honestly why Lex didn't necessarily appeal to him. This is to show Joaquin Phoenix in this kind of light as a hero, superhero, whatever it may be. I think is going to be totally different for him. And again, I think that paragraph in my original story, where you look at his recent co-stars, and they're all doing Marvel movies, Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
He can look at his peers and know that he's not selling out or anything like that. He can toggle between serious dramas and fun, you know, more commercial stuff, and his audience will only expand.
They're gonna love that, and I think he's gonna be able to do something different. And you know, you always got to hand it to Marvel for these great casts. You know, like obviously Downey Jr. kind of started it off, and then here we are now on the other side years later with Joaquin Phoenix. It's just...
They think outside the box. I mean, Chris Evans in particular.
Yeah.
Someone who already had played a superhero in movies that weren't necessarily beloved, but they're like, no, this guy has exactly what we're looking for.
People didn't like Fantastic Four?
Who knew?
Really? Oh.
Was there a movie for Fantastic Four? I just remember the Roger Corman one.
You know, he was the best thing in those movies.
Yes,
too.
he
was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was not Jessica Alba.
No. Or Ian Garfard.
And that, right.
Although I don't think we can blame the actors too much.
No, of course not.
Films.
No.
You know?
Speaking of Fantastic Four, though, what did you guys think of those photos?
Yeah, I don't know, Jimmy.
You know, I think I'm excited for it. I'm still kind of skeptical. I don't know about you. I'm still kind of skeptical.
Not buying it? Okay.
Not fully, but I tend to get a little weirded out when people go see one photo of a movie and say, well, that's not going to work.
And
it's
not
going to
even
be the worst movie.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of green screens.
You gotta sit down, man. You're going to stand in front of the camera.
No, I know. We're parenting as well during the show.
Okay, cool.
Yes, yeah, I'm looking at the photo now, and it's basically Doom.
Yeah.
Okay, in front of some green screen, and it's hard to really get some kind of detail from it. So I'm not a big judge it on the first photo kind of thing, because I know, like, they threw out that Ant-Man picture of him, you know, and everybody's like, what is this? And it's like, it's just, it looks fine.
It's a green screen. I mean, you can't really judge from anything.
No,
you're right.
It looks like Doom.
Okay. Yeah.
It looks exactly like Doom.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I don't see anything groundbreaking. Even with, I know Josh Trank threw out the Thing photo finally. I mean, we had it up on our site, and we got a little nice letter from Fox. It was like, can you please bring it down? And which we did. And then a week later, Josh Trank was basically like, screw it, it's out there. Here you go.
Right.
And so people, I think, like the look of the Thing. Again, I'm not a Fantastic Four fan. I think that's. I'm kind of going in with a blank slate here.
I'm not a fan, but I don't dislike it. It's one of those. I love the casting. I really do love the casting. Great. Yeah. And that's so that's kind of holding me. And I'll judge it when I get like at least see a trailer or a poster or something like that. It's a green screen. I've seen that in person, and it's I don't know if that's one thing. If you ever sit and watch a movie being filmed, it's boring. If you just sit and watch it, it's boring. Yeah, it's painful.
The lighting. You're taking hours to light a certain scene, especially these big movies. The actors are just probably in their trailer. It's a lot of people that just kind of doing their thing, and then 5 seconds, there you go. You do a 1 minute scene, and then you're moving on to the next. I mean, it's just
in an hour.
In an hour, yeah.
Sure, if you're working it, when I did my brilliant film Airplane versus Volcano, which you can see on Netflix,
who won?
I did.
Doesn't the volcano always win in those situations?
Not necessarily. Okay. You should see. I can't believe you haven't seen it.
It's like the usual suspects. There's a twist.
There is a twist. There's
the airplane was Kaiser Sose
all along.
No, but I was working on it. I was doing a set visit, but I was also working on it. Yeah. So I had a blast.
Yeah,
I had a blast because I'm sitting in the plane. I'm getting to do my lines. I'm working with Dean Cain. So
nice.
So yeah, when you're on set, when you're doing a movie, especially when you're excited about, you have fun. So I'm sure, like when you're doing, say, Doctor Strange, there's got to be kind of an excitement or something like. I love watching horror films being shot just because the environment's so cool.
Yeah. I had fun shooting my horror movie, and because we were out in the middle of nowhere, so it was literally the horror cabin in the woods kind of thing, and so you're surrounded by nothing, and so you're definitely able to kind of see the shape of the movie. But with these big budget ones that do so much special effects, and literally they'll shoot just like something for 5 seconds and then move on for another huge setup, it's hard to see it take shape on set.
This seems like a good time to disclose my production experience.
Let's do this now.
Let's do it. I was on set for The Departed. I was a production assistant.
Really?
Yeah, I did one movie and it won Best Picture. I was on set.
Not bad.
See, that just goes. You touch something.
Right.
Gold.
Oscar gold.
Yes.
Power.
I worked with the second unit. I spent one day as a PA.
Okay.
I fell asleep on Martin Scorsese's set. I worked from 4:30 in the afternoon to 4:30 in the morning. I fell asleep around 2:30. I dozed off.
Okay.
And I was just like holding a walkie-talkie under a bridge in a shady part of Boston.
Yeah.
Like locking down a location.
It sounds about right, especially PA work.
It was boring.
If you guys don't know, in Schmoville has a lot of filmmakers, writers, directors that want to be doing this, and it's a topic that is asked a lot, but it's not as glamorous as
no, but that's how you get your foot in the door.
Absolutely.
Being a PA,
especially a PA. Yeah. And I even know Brian Bertino, who did The Strangers. He was a grip for he was in an interview doing I remember moving some cables under a bridge or under a dock, worried about getting electrocuted, and a year later The Strangers comes out.
Dude, we need another movie from that guy, by the way.
We do. I would love to see Strangers sequel.
I would too, and I really want to see what's that one, guys, that he did a teaser for it.
Mockingbird, maybe? Or?
No, it's like Grimm. It's like
yes, Grim Night.
Grim Night. That teaser was amazing.
It was cool.
Where is it?
Yeah, they never made it.
Come on.
Yeah.
I want to see that. So what else? Because I do want to go back to JoBlo, because something interesting that I get a lot of from Schmoville is, how do you keep up on the news every day? Like, how hard is that? And basically it's, what, you have a...
I just remembered my most vivid... No, but you continue, and I'll wrap up with my most vivid JoBlo memory.
Okay,
nice.
Good.
Okay.
So my point with that is there's news all the time. Okay, so for me, I feel overwhelmed because, we have a really great team, small team, working on this site, and there's always news that you can cover. I look at JoBlo, who's got, how many people do you have working at JoBlo?
That is a good question, and I should have. I think it's about 20-something.
Okay.
It's quite a few people.
Yes.
We have the news team. We have the contributors who do the reviews. We have people to do everything, that actually run the site, make sure it's going. We have a lot of people, and then of course we have Burge in charge, who's kick ass. I love that guy, and Paul. So it's a lot of people, I think, for a website.
Absolutely, because I look at it. If I look at schmoesknow.com and I see what our staff is like, and then I look at JoBlo and I see that is a huge, not difference. There's just a lot going on at JoBlo. Like I said, you could spend, look at this, news, reviews, trailers, movie database, release dates, interviews, posters, Blu-rays, DVDs, wallpapers and screensavers, features, forums, video games, box office. You guys got a lot going
And
here.
you can go over to Movie Hotties. You can go to Arrow in the Head. I just did an article for Arrow in the Head, which I went, I do it. It's called Where in the Horror Are They Now, where I find a old movie star that did cool movies back in the day. And I mentioned The Brood earlier because I was talking about Samantha Eggar, who I had the biggest crush on when I was a kid. Oh my God. So, but there's so much to do.
So then you can answer me this. Where is the psychic from Friday the 13th, Part 7 nowadays?
The psychic.
Isn't her name Lark?
Yeah, she's still working. She's one of those. I think she recorded an album.
She was awesome.
She was hot in that.
She was hot in that movie.
She's still kind of hot, I think.
She is, and she can move things with her mind. And
she can't do that in real life, though.
No,
she can't do that in real life.
What are you talking about?
No, it was all movie magic.
Yeah,
movie magic.
No, I get it. Okay, so with JoBlo, you have a team of 20 or so.
So I think I think that's
makes
fair.
sense.
Arrow has a smaller team, but there's a team. I mean, Movie Hotties has their people. I mean, it's
So to answer this question that I had on Schmoville, which was, how do you can you talk about how difficult or easy it is to keep up with the news and get it out so early? I think it's that you have a team to do that.
we have a news team. I mean, it's not a huge team. We only have a few people, and they're dedicated, man. They're like on the site there, and they're getting as much stuff as quickly as possible.
Now, do you also have freelance writers that kind of work with you, or is it all everybody's on the staff?
I think pretty much mostly. I think it's pretty everyone's on the staff.
Everyone's on the staff.
I mean, obviously, I only do certain jobs, so it's not it's not my full time necessarily gig. I'm not 7 hours a day or 7 days a week. On the site, but I think it's mostly they stick with their own people.
So and you just do the movie reviews, the junkets, the set visits. That's pretty cool.
It's Renaissance man.
He's the Renaissance man. Now I want to hear.
I just wanted to thank / blame JoBlo.
Oh boy,
because that is the site on which I read Uwe Boll's fight challenge.
Really?
I was working in Luke Greenfield's pool house, the director of Girl Next Door and Let's Be Cops. Surfing the internet like I was not supposed to, and I was on JoBlo, and it said Uwe Boll, challenges his critics, and I was like, I'm gonna apply.
Did you apply?
On a whim.
Wow. He did it.
I got my ass kicked.
Yes.
But it was all JoBlo's fault.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's where I heard. I was because I knew him, and then I found that out, and I was like, that is freaking amazing. I wish I could have been there. I always was
crazy, see? Even 8 years ago.
Do you know how much more respect I have for you now, Jeff? I did not know that.
Put up or shut up.
Yeah, so that was you in the ring with...
Oh, yeah. I made it to the second round.
You did? Really?
Oh, yeah. I made it to a second round.
I'm shocked. He was going easy on you.
Well, after a few to the back of the head, because you can see, I got some illegal blows.
Of course. Well,
I didn't land a punch, by the way.
You were the poor sucker that got in there and took all of his anger at the critics on you.
Well, Ain't It Cool was also the biggest site that was represented there, so he was really...
Who from Ain't It Cool was there?
Me.
That he was,
I was on behalf of Ain't It Cool.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and I would say Ain't It Cool is...
I was all alone in Vancouver.
Yeah, they're not... And they weren't a big fan of his work.
Right. I had never seen one of his movies. I had never badmouthed his movies because I had never seen one.
There you go.
So he's taking it all... Did you tell him that? Did you guys... What was the conversation like? Was there a conversation?
You die now conversation, right?
I think so. I think that he gave me a little something extra for Quint. I think he wasn't a fan of Quint. But I told him, listen, man, it's nothing personal.
You know what's fascinating about that guy, though? And I've met him. I've had a really long conversation with him. He's so freaking smart.
He has multiple degrees. He's like a doctor of literature.
He's incredibly smart. And you talk. I had a conversation with him and Michael Pare. And I was just like,
oh, cool.
Wow, I just feel dumber and dumber as the minutes go.
Uwe's a smart guy.
He's really smart.
Very
he's
smart.
still making movies. They're horrible, and he's still making them, which means you have to be smart.
Yeah.
He must be. Yeah, he's obviously a genius in the pitch room, and obviously
although Postal was quite entertaining, I gotta say.
Postal's not a bad movie.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie.
I agree.
I'm like you. I don't think I've seen one of his movies.
If you're gonna see one, see Postal.
See Postal.
Okay. I remember first seeing Alone in the Dark, and I was just like,
oof.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's my 0-1 lifetime boxing record.
Yeah.
Wow.
One and done.
So you didn't want to box again, you know?
No,
go back into the ring?
It was not for this overweight, out-of-shape Jewish boy.
Oh, man.
But it got me into Wired, puking all over myself. So
there you go. All right.
That was, career highlight.
So how long did it take you to recover from that? This story fascinates me.
My ribs were good and sore for like a week.
Wow.
God.
God, see, that's what we do here at Meet the Movie Press. We talk to journalists, reporters, movie people, and boxers.
Yes. Yeah. If you didn't know, this guy was a boxer. It's amazing.
This is where the worlds collide. Journalist, boxer, Jeff Sneider.
You're next, Pacquiao.
And unfortunately, that's all the time we have, which I could be doing this for another 2 hours with you. I really, again, I can't commend or recommend JoBlo enough, because it's been like I said, one of my favorite sites of all time. I go there all the time. So where can the good people in Schmoville find you, Jimmyo?
Of course, on JoBlo.com and arrowinthehead.com, and I'm on Twitter at Jimmy2TheO. I'm not like clever, and I didn't do the 2.
And there's no H at the end. It's not.
No, it's just Jimmo. How do you spell my name? I don't know. Jimmy2TheO. You can find me, and I'm on Facebook at James Oster. Yes, you knew my last name. I'm impressed, and you said it right. Yeah. Most people say oyster or ooster.
I saw your last name. I knew it was an oyster.
Yeah.
There wasn't any Y.
There's no Y.
So,
there's no Y.
We are masters of the English language here, I like to think. So
that's what it says on my business card.
That's right.
But yeah, no, thank you, Schmoville. Keep rating and commenting the show. And, I'll let Mark do that stuff.
Yeah, but before we go, Jeff Sneider, where can the good people find you?
TheWrap.com. You can follow me on Twitter at TheInsnider. And stay tuned next week. We're going to have a ton of cool coverage related to the Toronto International Film Festival. I'm going over the border.
Are you going?
Oh, yeah. I'll bring you back some maple syrup.
Please do.
Don't you know?
That's great,
That's not Canada,
is it?
Just
creepy.
I don't know what that is. Get me off
Canada.
That's more like Fargo. Well, it's kind of similar.
Well, I'll say this.
I'll tell you, I'll boot it when I get back. There you go.
I'll boot it. And also, if you do get in a fight in a boxing ring there, you have free coverage, so you can just go to the hospital there and you're fine.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's true.
So this has been another episode of Meet the Movie Press. I am Mark Reilly, editor-in-chief of Schmoes Know. You can find me at ReillyAround on Twitter or always at schmoesknow.com. And thanks, guys, for always rating and subscribing to Meet the Movie Press. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dog, please. My dog watches this show.
Loves it.
Really?
He loves it. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
He usually scratches himself.
And my son's watching it. He's been very good today.
And your son's watching it.
Props to my son.
So thank you very much, Schmoville. We will see you
Enjoy
next
Labor Day
week.
weekend, everybody.
Have a great Labor Day, and until next time. Whoa, there you go. Until next time, Meet the Movie Press.
The Movie Press. Special day. From producers Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, and the entire Schmoes Know Network crew, we would like to thank you for listening to Meet the Movie Press. Special thanks to Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos, the author of Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, in stores now. To watch or listen to other Schmoes Know Network episodes, get movie news, or join the conversation, be sure to visit schmoesknow.com. I'm the Pit Boss, and this has been a presentation of Schmoes Know.